Hentai warning, there's an explanation for it, but it's kinda hidden. Like symbolism? Thank you for the wait. I had like half of it done for a long time, but the fanime is taking up so much of my time. And school. Chapter 28, Caramelized Tears of Blood. Raichu could only feel the clone's hands rest upon her shoulders, but she knew it was a clone because her voice sounded exactly like hers. You're willing to help me? Raichu rested her metal hands on her clone's shoulders. Only as much as you're willing to help yourself, she said with a mysterious voice, like a sword sheathed in a hilt hidden from the eye. Raichu shook her head, frustrated and confused. What do you mean? I've been trying to help myself, but you know where my baby girl is? Please help me. You mean our baby girl? From the next walls came a rattle and a shake. Raichu could hear Yuki's voice above the wind, faintly crying like raindrops upon a tin roof of a shed. Sabah! She heard her cry. What is he doing to her? I have no time for this. You have to tell me where my daughter is so I can save Yuki and get Tenchikuzu back. Yuki! She cried. I'm coming for you, be careful. Don't worry about her, she's knee-deep in it, the clone said lowly. The only way you can get your daughter back is if you learn to love! Raichu's eyes sparked. I know how to love! But you don't love everyone. The clone put her hand on Raichu's eyeless cheeks. You need to learn to love yourself. She closed her eyes and went in for a kiss. Their lips met like the whip on the ass of a submissive beast boy. I've never loved myself before. Not like this. Raichu's ears began to twitch uncontrollably. Do I have to do this? We're going to love us hard. The clone took Raichu by the neck and pushed her up against the cold steel wall. This will bring more love into your heart. She snaked her hand up Raichu's belly into her chest to gently squeeze her bob. Raichu accepted her own advances and hugged the clone. They rubbed noses and continued kissing, their hot, soggy breath blowing on their delicate skin. Raichu put her hands on her clone's butt and rubbed it furiously. I never realized how nice my ass was. Raichu laughed. See, you can love yourself. Now, find out what you love about your face. Raichu kissed her clone all over the face and right on the tip of her nose. I love my nose and my lips. She kissed her sleeve again. She placed her hands neatly over her bumpy tits. I remind me of my mom. I miss her. She then ran the surface of her face over the surface of the belly and back up to her head. She suddenly felt her clone's twig-like fingers surrounding the outside of her cave like eels trying to get in. She did things to her, and it mildly hurt. Meow! Raichu squeaked. That kinda hurt. It's called tough love. The clone deviously smiled. You haven't loved all of yourself yet, haven't I? Raichu sighed. You need to love our ass. With a big grin bending over, she said. No! You have been in that test tube for a long time. Tenchikuzu only knows what's in there. Raichu quivered like a marionette. Sure, that sounds good. But then her clone exploded. Her head flew off in a gruesome way and rolled over to the other side of the floor. Holy shit. Raichu's heart rate went up. She walked over to the clone's head. The clone's lips parted to talk. Your little girl is right above us on the surface of the earth. Thank you for loving you. Her head broke down to a million little pieces and flew away. Raichu took this opportunity to break down the walls to save Yuki. As she burst through the door, she screamed, Yuki, are you okay? As the wall crumbled, she could see Yuki on the other side. Sebastian was busy piling food after food into Yuki's mouth. She was covered in cake and frosting and pudding. Oh, Kami! Yuki wiped off her mouth. He wouldn't stop feeding me this shit, but I actually kind of like it. We need to find your daughter! Sebastian looked at Yuki longingly, shyly pulling at his gloves. Can I come too? Of course! She grabbed Sebastian and Raichu's hand. We're going through the roof, Raichu. Prepare to punch it into oblivion. They all rocketed off the ground and burst through a mile of cement and goiter. They all tumbled out onto the earth. Sebastian stood up and dusted himself off. I didn't like working for that freak anyway. Well. How the fuck did you guys end up all the way out here? It was Sesshomaru the Vampire Lord, and he was at a table with a figure under a sheet on it. The sheet was blood-stained with sadness and death. I've had enough of you all, and my surgeon/butler betrayed me. He took out a scythe and spun it around. Let's part. He nimbly ran up to Raichuru. Yuki threw out her wing and uplifted Sesshomaru the Vampire Lord into the sky as he sailed through the air like a white butterfly, and as he came down he landed on Raichuru's shoulders, slashing her on the cheek with his scythe. She kicked up her leg and smacked him right on the node, breaking it and causing blood to squirt out. Ah! You bitch, I'll rip your ass out! Too bad you weren't with me earlier. She smiled and threw a punch at him. No, but Yor was there anyway. Sesshomaru slapped Raichuru right on the forehead. He went in for another slap, and she caught his ham! Party's over. She coolly looked at him, with eyes like a silent river. She reached out and wrapped her fingers around Sesshomaru's cranium. She snapped his head to the right side, breaking his neck. She wiggled his head around a bit until the bones were disconnected, and then ripped his head off and threw it anyway. A volant waterfall of blood gushed from his neck hole. Quickly, Raichuru rushed to the body on the table. She lifted up the sheets, and sure enough, Elaine was there. She looked pale and peaceful. No! Raichuru snatched her up into her arms. Blood tears ran over her supple cheeks. She caressed the side of Elaine's face and gently rubbed it with her thumb. Yuki came out behind Raichuru and held her shoulders. She's still alive, Rai-chan. Okay? Listen, let's take her home. Let's provide her a good home. Yuki wiped the tears from Raichuru's face. You're rigged, Raichuru said. I haven't been much of a mom since she was born. And to think, I nearly lost her. Hey guys, Mina-chan was waving her head at the foursome. I have a boat. We can all go back home. Let's go, Raichuru said as she carried Elaine onto the boat. Yuki looked towards Sebastian and then quickly looked away. She spoke softly like a gentle whisper. You really want to come with us? Sebastian smiled and blushed. Of course I do, he said. I want to feed you more cake. Well, hey, I'm big in Japan.